I'm Neil Smith. I'm the trainer at Horsewyse. I work with the children. I work with kids with various special needs using horses.
One of our teachers was very, very keen on something she'd heard about children not actually just learning to ride, but learning to work with horses, who, of course, as a non-verbal participant, is a way of learning behaviours that children could easily understand and would then have an impact on their behaviours in a social context.
What I want to do today is try to see if we can teach Conker to jump.
Well, every child is unique, but the designation for this part of the school is that it is for children with behaviour, emotional or social difficulties.
Let's go. If I know what the children have a problem with, I try to facilitate a situation using a horse which might test them.
They have a lot of low self-esteem issues, big fear of failure, don't like taking risks and often struggle in their own self-belief of what they can and can't do. Horsewyse is set up in such a non-threatening way that they can really build their confidence as the sessions go on. From something simple, even leading the horse on their own, or the little horse Conker, following them around the school, it really gives them a sense of achievement.
Kids with severe autism or low functioning autism, I tend to just get them to stroke them and learn about boundaries and keeping themselves safe.
Children that we work with, they have severe learning difficulties, and a lot of them also have a diagnosis of autism. So most of the children have very low level of language, or some don't have any language. So what we were hoping to get out of the Horsewyse was really for them to be noticing what was going on around them. For some of the children, just to notice that a horse was there would be a huge step for them. At a higher level, at a real stretch, we'd be hoping that some of them might communicate possibly something about the horse, or possibly drawing another adult's attention to the horse.
I think the biggest thing for me is I feel safe using horses, and I feel I can keep the children safe.
Yes, I was very surprised and quite amazed actually about how you can use horses. I mean, for myself, I was scared of horses because they're such big creatures, not being near them. Now it's sort of okay, it's second nature to go up to them and pat them, feed them, you know, all that sort of thing that children don't normally get to do. Well, I don't get to do.
Horses are very good at reading individuals, and they're really good at interpreting behaviour. That, for me, if they know if somebody's experienced and they know if someone is a beginner or relatively nervous, and quite often react in that way and are very aware of the behaviour of the children. And you can really see that clearly when you're observing a session. You can see how the horse reacts to them would be different to how they would react to me.
Horses don't hold a grudge, you know, so if a child pats a horse too hard, the horse might move away, but it'll only be for a few seconds.
Conker, will you stop? Help me, Tom, help me.
The fact that they were engaged in an activity for, half an hour rather than sometimes just 10 seconds, actually, and looking and noticing and being aware that their behaviour has an effect on others. So if they were getting too rough with the horse, they were starting to realise that the horse would move away. So if they wanted to continue to interact, they needed to be more gentle, and they were beginning to learn that.
I try to get the young people to verbalise to me how they might be feeling and how they might be impacting on the horse.
But when the children are watching and reading other behaviour of another being, it helps them to be able to reflect on their own behaviour and how they behave. And quite often during the week we can bring up something from Horsewyse into, oh, do you remember how Conker felt? And re-engaging them in something they've experienced, we found to be much more effective.
The children who are on the verge of bullying, because the horses are bigger, he can show them, Neil is able to show them what bullying does to a child, and they're in the receiving end, and I think that helps them to see how it is for children with low self-esteem and the bullying issue, and I think I've noticed there a difference there.
Guys, if we all run in different directions, is he going to follow us?
No. If we run in this, same direction, he will follow us.
Okay. Well, off you go. Go on then. Jog on. Watch it. Watch it. You've got to watch the pony. Stay together. happened? You got run over, didn't you? What could you have done which was better?
Move away.
And how do you know when to move away?
When you hear the horse.
When you hear the horse, or what else?
When you hear something.
What about looking?
No.
So when you're running along, you need to be looking, okay, to make sure you know where Conquer is.
Neil is just instinctive in getting it to come from them rather than he's giving them the answers. He doesn't give them the answers. He gets them to think around, which is why they learn so quickly.
Could somebody actually pick up one of his feet?
No. I might.
Who would like to have a go? Try and do it. I can set up something a little bit different. I tend to use the horses off the lead. The horse has to accept being around us.
Lift it up. You need to lift it, okay? Ready, go again.
We don't do riding. We try to get an experience for the children where they feel they've achieved something without necessarily having to pull the horse around and gain some sort of understanding.
Yeah, I just easily done it.
Which is quite structured, but the children don't realise that it's a huge structured environment.
The lad I took, Thomas, he doesn't generally talk about things that have happened in the past. He's very much in the moment. He may talk anxiously about things that have happened, will be happening in the future, but not about what's happened in the past. But he sort of was coming back and he was reminding me of things that we'd done at Horsewyse, and going through all the commands as he was sitting in front of the computer today, repeating it all, and that's very unusual for him to think back on what he's done, and he's not anxious at all about going again when we go next, and he's looking forward to it.
I allow the children to experience different aspects of looking after horses or working with horses in such a way that they can achieve something themselves, even this is just as far as getting a horse to walk along with them.
One of our most autistic children, at the beginning of the sessions, he would just walk around the school, not even engaging in Neil, me, the horses. He didn't look at them at all for about the first 3 weeks. And then after that, he slowly started interacting with the horses, leading them and touching them. And the last session he actually had, he was the boy that interacted the most with the horses. So he's moved on massively. And he's now being able to go and ask Neil questions, so he can move forward now. And in class now, he's starting to talk more and ask questions.
The way Neil engineers them into working as groups, so working as a team. It's difficult in the school sense to get them to understand what working as a team really means. But working either in the indoor school or out in the field, that you have to work as a team, otherwise you just confuse the horses. Children have cottoned on to that straight away. And of course we have a lot more teamwork occurring within school.
If you work as a team, the horse is going to follow you. If you're all separated, the horse is not going to know, it's going to be confused. So that was a good way to show them about teamwork and how working together can achieve goals that you wouldn't normally achieve.
When Anisha was cantering around the school, jumping and bucking and kicking and, in an excited way. They were reading his behaviour, and they had to stand on the planks in the centre of the school on the tires, and he was jumping over them as they were going by, and it came really close. And I think he was absolutely terrified, but was able to manage that fear in a way that he would generally find really difficult, because like with lessons, he had a big fear of failure and doesn't want to, but at that point stood there but was beaming afterwards. Children had faith in Neil, and they had faith in their surroundings. They were comfortable and knew that they felt safe and secure, because if they didn't have that safety and security, they would have run off and they wouldn't respond.
And also the fact that it's okay to be scared, that you don't have to go into every situation with confidence. It's okay to feel worried and things like that, because it helps you. And I think that's an important lesson for children to learn, especially children that come here. They think they have to be really tough and they have to be go into things.
That's right. Listen, here's a question. That's enough, thank you. Here's a question. Did you see Miss Shannon try and catch him?
Yeah.
Did he go near her?
No.
Did you see me try and catch him?
No. Yeah. No.
Did they go near me?
No.
Did you see Miss Lockyer go near him?
Yeah.
Did she catch him?
No.
Where did he go?
Over here.
He came to you guys. Why?
Because he loves us.
Because he loves you. Right? Come give him a pat and give him some love back. Well done, boys.
Lovely. You're lovely.
He is, isn't he? So which is your favourite now?
I
This one? I thought you liked the other one.
I liked all of them.
Children often as well, when they're scared, run away. That's their immediate reaction, to run away from it. And
the flight or fight.
when they're starting to go through the fear barrier and come out the other side now, feel what it feels like to come out the other side.
You're doing fantastic. Right, now you just walk towards me. Do you want to take him for a walk around the school? You don't have to hold on to him now. Keep going. Keep going. You don't have to hold on to him. Let go. Lukey, let go. And walk with it. Walk, keep going. Depending on what sort of child we get, depending on what their background is, how old they are, how agile they might be, or how able they are, I have a variety of different horses, starting from a little 9-hand Shetland pony called Conker, right up to, for the more challenging children, I would use a thoroughbred.
I didn't really get on that well with school, but ever since I've been coming up here, I've just really got into the schoolwork, this, because it's basically something to look forward to at the weekends, and it just keeps you awake and that. You know, I'm in my GCSE year, I can't afford to muck about now either. Glad I found this place and really glad that I'm doing this.
Anything I can have that is slightly different. For example, if a kid work with Conker initially and they feel safe with the little pony, I will bring in a bigger horse and I try to get the kids to understand that it's how they approach the horse that will affect how the horse reacts to them. It's nothing to do with the horse's size. Or if you bring in a horse that's, particularly Patrick, who's got what we call a wall eye, both his eyes got a bit of blue in them.
Is this one angry?
Why do you think it might be angry? Now, what is different about this one? What's different about his face?
It's black and white. Bigger.
Bigger? Yeah. Quite a few of the kids have said to me that horse is evil. Does it? When they first see him. And after a short while, they tend to realise that it doesn't matter how the horse looks, it's how they react. Because he's old. And by the end of the session, quite often they turn around and said, I quite love this horse, he's quite a good horse. And then I would say something to them like, well, do you remember what you said at the beginning of the lesson? Why did you not like him? And it's usually their own perception of how a horse looks that will impact upon them, as opposed to how a horse reacts to them initially. It's a structured building up process for them to realise that a small pony can be as difficult as a big horse, or a big horse might be as easy as a small horse. He loves you.
I love him too.
You love him too. Excellent. That's how you do it.
The children that we picked were the children who had quite severe communication difficulties, who we thought it would be a bit of a challenge. You know, we wonder whether these children will get anything out of it. So let's try with the most challenging ones, and they really did. Yeah, we'd just really like it if more of our children were able to access that and to have that opportunity.
Most of our children will come with their statement, and on their statement it will say that they have social interaction difficulties. This is the greatest impact that Horsewyse has for these children, the social interaction and the pride and the joy that these children get from feeling within them that I now know how to get on with other people.